Hello guys, let's talk about the linear graphs. Okay, so I want us to talk about this is an equation of straight line y is equals to ax plus b, and then in this equation of a straight line, a represents the slope. So the slope, we're talking about the nature of the gradient of the graph. So if the value of a is a negative number, so it means you have a negative slope. Okay, so if they just say y is equals to negative 2x, it means you must expect a negative slope. So a negative slope is the line that is falling down like this one. Okay, and then b, it refers to the y-interception. Okay, so now if on the value of a you have a positive number, so it means you have a positive slope. So the line of the graph should be ascending. Okay, should be ascending like this one. And then for negative slope, the line should be descending. Okay, now let's have a look on November 2010. Okay, November 2010. If you don't have the question paper, please just let me know. I'll send you the question paper. Question number 9, November 2010. What's happening? November 2010, question number 9. What's happening is they're saying which one of the following graphs is the correct representation of the linear function of y is equals to 4x minus 2. Y is equals to 4x minus 2. Okay, like I said, the equation says y is equals to ax plus b. So this is your a, and your a is what? It's positive. It's positive 4x. And this is your b. Your b determines the y-interception. So let's see the graph that has a positive slope. So it's only graph number 1 and graph number 4 that has a negative slope, because these lines are falling down. Okay, and graph number 3 and graph number 2 has positive slope. So this means that we're gonna have to eliminate graph number 1 and graph number 3 because they all has a negative slope. Okay, now I'm gonna say which one will be correct then from graph number what? Number 3 and graph number 2. Okay, you don't have to calculate. First of all, graph number 3 and graph number 2, they are correct because they have the ascending lines, and the ascending lines, they fall under what? Positive slope. And our slope is 4, so it means it's a positive number, so we must have ascending lines. So it's only graph number 3 and 2. So how can we figure which one is correct? Remember when I talked about the value of b? The value of b is the y-interception. So our b in this case is minus 2. So it means the correct graph must have a what? A negative 2 y-interception. Let's look at our graphs here. Graph number 3 and graph number 4, which one has a negative 2 y-interception? Graph number 3, it has a negative 2 y-interception. Do you see this is the y-axis? Along the y-axis, the graph is cutting y at minus 2. But graph number 2, it intercepts y at 1/2. So this one is wrong. But this one is correct. It has a positive slope and it's intercepting y at minus 2. So this is the correct graph, option number 3. So this is how it operates. Let's move to question number 10. Question number 10 says the linear, consider the following graph of linear y is equals to ax plus b. So y is equals to ax plus b. And then Look at the first intersection. X is at -3. Along the x-axis, x is at -3. And then the second intersection, y is at 2. Along the y-axis, y is at 2. So we need to produce the coordinates here. Okay, at the first intersection, x is at what? At -3. And then y is at what? Is at 0. So you must come here and say x is at -3 while y is at 0. You close the bracket. So this is the first intersection. It means you have x1 and y1. And let's go to the second intersection. The second intersection, moving from here to here, it shows that y is 2. And then where y is 2 along this line, x is at what? Is at 0. So it means y is 2 and x is 0. So in the brackets, the first values is for x, the first is for x, the second is for y, the first is for x, the second is for y. So this is the second intersection. So we're gonna have x2 and y2. So this is how we do this stuff. Okay, so now do you see that we have a positive slope here? So it means option number 1 is already out, because option number 1, it has a negative slope of -3/2. But anyway, let's calculate the slope. So to calculate the slope, remember a is a slope. So to calculate the slope, you must say a is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then it's going to be equals to, what is the value for y2? It's going to be 2 minus the value for y1 is 2 minus 0 over the value for x2 is 0 minus the value for x1, 0 minus 3. So how much will you get? So a will be equals to 2 over 3. So a is equals to 2 over 3. So in the options where we have a is equals to 2 over 3, it's option number what? It's option number 3, where it says y is equals to 2 over 3x plus 2. So why am I not calculating the value for b? Is because look at the graph. B determine the y-interception. The graph is intercepting at +2. So it means the value for b must be 2. And then the value for a should be 3 over 2. Okay, like what I got here. The value for a is 3 over 2. So it means here our a is 3 over 2 and our b will be +2. Why? Because the b determines the y-interception, and at the same time you can see our graph is intercepting the y-axis at 2. And then so option number 3 will be our answer. So while we are on the same question paper, October-November 2010, I will advise you guys to look video number 1 for the linear inequalities. Okay, we have the first video. So the first video, it shows you about the greater sign and the less sign. How does it look? Okay, so in our graph here we have line number 1 and line number 2. So line number 1, it's actually it's breaking like this, line number 1, and line number 2, it's actually solid. So now on line number 1, the shading is above the line, and the line is breaking and the shading is above the line. So this is what we have. Line number 2, the line is solid and the shading is underneath the line, is below the line. So if the line is breaking on line number 1, what do we expect? The line is breaking and the shading is above the line. So we have a greater what? A greater sign, because the line is breaking and the shading is above the line. So if the shading is above the line, we have a greater sign. And then for line number 2, the line is solid and the shading is below the line. So because the shading is below the line, we have less sign. But for the fact that the line is solid, so it should be less or equals to. So which option has a line which has a greater and less or equals to? So it seems like it's only option number 4. Yes, option number 4 has a less sign on line number 1 and has a greater sign on line number 1 and a less or equals to on line number 2. So option number 4 is the correct answer. Okay, let's move to question number number 20. So having a look at question number 20, what is the meaning for the unshaded dot and the shaded dot? So the unshaded, it means if it's less, it's only less. If it's greater, it's only greater. But if it's shaded, it means if it's less or equals to. If it's greater, it's greater or equals to. So please read, play video number 1 of inequalities. You will see this stuff, okay? So now, the correct inequality being represented here is, so this is the number line, guys. This one, it's a number line. So it's starting from -1 going to +5. So what I can tell you about the number line is like moving from negative from the left side to the right side. From the left side to the right side. This is how we count the numbers. So it means all the numbers that are from the left side, they are less than the numbers that are from the right side. As you can see, -1 is less than 0, 0 is less than 1, 1 is less than 2, going to the right. So the left side numbers are less than the right side number. So now, what we can say here is that, okay, forgive me about the quality of the phone. What we can say here is that -1, because here is only a unshaded dot, so we're gonna say -1 is less than x. Why I'm saying it's less than x? Because we are moving along the x-axis. So -1 is less than all these numbers, okay? So I'm gonna say it's less than x, and then this line is starting from -1 and it ends at 5. So I'm gonna say it's less than x, and I'll come and say less or equals to. So it means it doesn't exceed 5. So it's gonna be less or equals to. Why am I saying less or equals to? Because this one is shaded. So it's for less or equals to what? To 5. So -1 is less than x, less or equals to 5. Which option? -1 is less than x, less or equals to 5. So it seems like it's option number 1. Option number 1 is correct. Okay, let's move to question number 21. Question number 21 is about inequalities. We need to solve the inequality here. So basically we are given -5 over 3q less than 25 over 29 over 27, I mean. So initially, what must you do here? You need to cross multiply. So you need to cross multiply. So it means 27 here must multiply -5. So it's going to be 27 times -5 less than 25 times 3q, and then 27 times negative. So 27 times -5, you're gonna get -135 less than 25 times 3 is gonna be 75q. So we're gonna have to divide both sides by 75, okay, so that we can remain with q. So we divide both sides by 75. Okay, so if you have to divide both sides using 75, here 75 and 75 will cancel, so q will be equals to -135 divided by 75. So -135 divided by 75, if you're using a ratio, it will lead you to q is less than -9 over 5. So the correct option here, it will be what? Remember, negative 9 over 5 is it's an improper fraction, so you can have to convert to mixed by saying q is less than how many times 5 goes into 9? It's 1, so it will be negative 1. 1 remainder what? 4 over 5. So the correct option here will be option number 1. Q is equals to, no, option number 1 will be wrong. Option number 1 will be wrong, so it's gonna be option number 2. Q is less than what? Q is less than negative 1 over 5. So Q, option number 4, Q is less than negative 1 4 over 5, and Q is greater than 0. So the answer is none of the above, because negative 1 4 over 5 is not greater than 0. Any negative number is less than 0. So the answer here is none of the above. Okay, or let's move to question number 22. Two straight lines of the form y is equals to ab plus are parallel if the line have the same. Okay, this is what you must know. Parallel lines have the same slope, so option number 3 is correct. Parallel lines have the same slope, so option number 3 here is correct. Okay, and then another thing, let's move to question number 23. So question number 23, let me find a space where I can calculate. Okay, question number 23 is about the linear equations. Okay, so the linear equation says it's saying 6x, so it's gonna be 6x plus 7 is greater 8x minus 3. Okay, so this is the linear equation we have right here. So what are we going to do, guys? We're going to say, let's group the like terms. So we can say we have 6x here. If you take positive 8x to cross this sign, it's gonna be minus 8x greater negative 3. If positive 7 comes the other side, it's gonna be minus 7. So here 6 minus 8 is gonna be minus 2x greater minus 10. And then minus 3 minus 7 is minus 10. So what's going to happen here? We're going to divide both sides using negative 2 so that we'll be able to solve for x. So here's the thing. When you're dividing both sides using a negative number, you are likely and very likely to change the sign. Okay, so once you start to divide by using negative 2, both sides negative 2, so you'll say x, you change the sign. It's now less than what? It's now less than, cancel, so it's now less than 5. So now, what is the linear inequality that represents this one? So you must draw your x-axis here, and then remember the less sign. So let me say it's 5 here. Here it's 0. Here maybe it's negative 1. So the less sign, look at the head. So look at the head of this sign. So if we have to produce an arrow here, it means the arrow must face this side. Okay, so where does it emanate? It emanates at 5. So it will emanate at 5. So this round should be light inside. You don't have to shade inside because you only have a less sign, not a less or equals to. And then you draw an arrow that will take this head. So I'll take this sign to be the head of my arrow like this. You see, this is how you draw the arrow. So which option has the same answer with this one? So it seems like it's option number 3. You see there, it emanating from 5 and it's facing this side, so it's option number 3. So question number 23 is option number 3. That's how we do it. Thank you guys, all the best.